across the day and maybe even across the weekend. But first, why don't you take a look at the highlights? So I do apologize for that technical itch, but we will be getting the highlights maybe at the very end. The Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has called on various domestic and international organizations to support government initiatives aimed at mitigating the effects of climate change. Gachagua stated that recently the nation has faced the impacts of climate change, which have caused drought and disasters within the country and led to floods in different parts during heavy rains. Gachagua mentioned that the government has increased efforts to combat these effects, supported by leaders of various organizations in uniting to address climate change.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
Thank you very much for your unwavering support and patience that you've been with us. Now, as I had told you earlier, my name is Consolata Chibalonza. This is EBN TV Prime Edition. Here are the highlights. There is no learning in junior secondary schools across several Kenyan regions due to a strike demanding employment confirmation and compensation from the Teacher Service Commission. Coffee farmers in Baringo are facing hardships due to delayed payments caused by leadership disputes within the Kituro Cooperative Society. And on to some international news. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi and others died in a helicopter crash, prompting preparations for Deputy President Mohammad Mokhber to become the acting president. Welcome. The Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has called on various domestic and international organizations to support government initiatives aimed at mitigating the effects of climate change. Gachagua stated that recently the nation has faced the impacts of climate change, which have caused drought and disasters within the country and led to floods in different parts during the heavy rains. Gachagua mentioned that the government has increased efforts to combat these effects, supported by leaders of various organizations in uniting to address climate change.
People of this great country have come to terms with reality is that climate change is real. And therefore, as a government, we have come up with a program to grow 15 billion trees by the year 2032. I'm very encouraged by ICRAF Kenya, the issue of fruit trees, because much as we're asking Kenyans to grow trees, we need to encourage them by taking them to a direction that also has a benefit. The issues of avocado, macadamia, coffee, mangoes are issues that we need a lot of support.
And as we witness the devastating effects of the floods, we really stand with the Kenyan people during this difficult time of recovery, where they have suffered deaths, displacements, and suffering because of the catastrophe. And we look forward to working with Kenya to making Kenya more resilient. In view of the government's commitment of 15 billion trees, we were talking, Excellency, about the right tree for the right purpose in the right place, and the real importance of growing trees and not just planting trees. And we see this achievement of aiming by 2030 to cover over 30% of the land with these 15 billion trees as an area we would love to continue to collaborate and scale our collaboration.
The government will ensure the successful restoration and reconstruction of Nairobi's rivers, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has stated. The Deputy President said that this cleanup will help restore the city's glory and dignity, especially for residents living along the rivers. Gachagua called for collective efforts among all stakeholders to ensure that communities affected by the cleanup plan receive humane treatment and compassion during the exercise. He emphasized that the authorities executing this plan must involve people and communities that may be affected by the project, urging Kenyans to consider climate change adaptations.
And I also want to appeal you support us in the restoration of Nairobi rivers. We have a program for the restoration of Nairobi River that is under very serious pollution, and we have a very serious program. And I think both C4 ICRAF and ICRAF Kenya can play a role to assist us in terms of technical advice, in terms of resource mobilization, in terms of seeing what we can be able to do.
Away from the Deputy President, now coffee farmers from Baringo County continue to complain about delayed payments for their coffee. Members of the Kituro Cooperative Society say they are facing tough times after the court halted this payment due to leadership disputes within the society. Speaking to the media at the Kituro Coffee Factory in Baringo, the farmers mentioned that the conflict arose after leadership changes at the factory a few months ago when they began demanding for their coffee payments.
Uwizi inaanzia kule kulingana na makredi yenye tunapewa kutoka kule. Juzi tuliweza kupeleka katika Baringo cha na kule katika Baringo cha kredi zile tuliweza kupata hapa. Kwa mfano AA, kredi ya AA mwaka ile season ya 2022-23 hapa waliweza kutuambia hapo kwamba tuliweza kupata gunia 10 tu, lakini wakati tuliweza kwenda kule tulipata magunia 42.
Tumeita hii presa tukuje hata wa viongozi wetu wote kuanzia governor mpaka CS Chelugui na hata serikali kuu wajue ya kwamba hii shida ya kahawa hata sisi Baringo tuko nayo, na hii cartel hata sisi tuko nayo hapa, na sisi tumesema hatuwezi panduka. Tumesema mpaka tuwa expose ile kazi zote za ibilisi wamekuwa wanafanya katika society yetu. Tukiona society yetu hapa imekuwa tangu 1983 mpaka sasa haijawahi grow, kwa sababu watu kama hao wamekuja kushika na wameshika mateka wakulima wetu.
Now, residents of Moiben, Uasin Gishu have every reason to smile after receiving government services following the opening of Huduma offices that will greatly benefit them by reducing the need to travel to Eldoret for these services. Principal Secretary for Immigration, Julius Bitok, stated that this move will help the approximately 200,000 residents of the area access essential government services, including obtaining identification cards. He said this during the office opening, supported by local leaders for the ministry's efforts for the residents of Moiben.
This office is very important because it's going to provide services to the people of Moiben constituency and the environs. We are targeting to serve at least 200,000 people from this office we have set up here today. We no longer have a passport backlog. We have been able to clear. We instituted reforms, and people now are getting passports in the shortest time possible. Yeah. So, and just to make it clear also, we are in the process of opening more offices for immigration.
We have brought the services closer to the people, and this particular service, this particular Huduma Service Center is not only going to serve Moiben constituency, but it will go beyond our constituency and serve neighboring constituencies like Marakwet West. We have Trans Nzoia, we have Soy on this side, including Ainapco.
Indeed, we congratulate the government for that step. Now, intern teachers are severely disrupting learning in junior secondary schools across several regions with the ongoing strike. The teachers, supported by officials from the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, that is KUPPET, are demanding that the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, should confirm their employment and provide compensation in accordance with a court order. The demonstrators, armed with placards, have vowed to paralyze the competency-based curriculum system until the demands have been met. Protests have been reported in Kisii, Kisumu, Narok, Kilgoris, Machakos, and Kakamega, among other areas, as the educators continue to push for their rights.
Rest in peace.
Without having Bashar that this one has served 2 years, this one has served 1 year, all of them this year, if the government is serious and want this education in CPC to go on, we want them to obey the court ruling.
Yes.
And that's why we're here. We'll be in the streets today, we'll be here tomorrow, we'll be here the other day, until the cries of these JSS teachers is heard.
We are on the streets, hatuko darasani. The data people are receiving at the Hochewise wanatuma tuko present darasani ni uongo. Watoto shuleni hawafunzwi, walimu wako barabarani. Information number 2 to our esteemed elder, Nat Secretary OU. We love your support, but be very clear. Have facts when you are going to speak there. We want us to be employed on permanent and pensionable. Hayo mambo yako ya kusema ati tupewe contract nzuri, hapana. Hayo mambo yako mengine ya kusema ati sisi mkakati huko wa kuemploy walimu 26,000, we can't listen to that. Hayo mambo ya kusema ati walimu warudi darasani hadi Januari, haturudi darasani. Kitu ambacho kinatoa darasani ni barua ya PNP. Hiyo ndio itatoa darasani, be it now, be it tomorrow. Tukipewa tunaingia, but we are not going minus that paper. Information number 3, MPs should join us. Ama tunafikiria nyinyi ndio watu mnaenda kupewa barua zetu, mnakuja kutuuzia hapa vijijini. Join us in the streets, document us in the bill. Hakikisha kuwa walimu 46,000 wote wanaingia ndani. Hayo mambo yote.
Napenda kusema kwamba serikali inasema haina pesa. Serikali iko na pesa nyingi ambayo inasema inataka kufanyia ukarabati residence za rais. Rais analala status moja. Mbona analinovate status zote Kenya? Pesa hizo walimu waachiliwe. Moguls power.
Various leaders from Kisii and Nyamira have vowed to stand with Kenyans to oppose additional taxes proposed in the 2024 finance bill. Speaking at a fundraising event at the Catholic Church in Kegati, Kisii, these leaders said they would ensure that the voice of ordinary citizens is heard during the public consultation on the finance bill. Furthermore, these leaders disagreed with proposals from some leaders regarding the allocation of national resources based on population size.
Tutakaa chini na wananchi tuwaeleze, ile watakubaliana nayo ndio tutapitisha. Ile nyingine tutakaa chini tuangalie, kwa sababu pia lazima tupate pesa. Katika hii budget tumeweka sasa hivi, tumeweka milioni 50 katika kila constituency ili watu wetu waweze kupata stima. Nimeona viongozi wengine kutoka Central, kutoka Mlima, walienda kule Limuru, wakaita Limuru 3, wakaketi wakaongea maneno mingi ya Limuru 3 mingi sana, wakasema, wakabishana, wakapiga kelele sana. Mimi nataka niambie hao viongozi, kwa sababu ni wale, niwakumbushe, wakati huu wa Kenya wanataka barabara. KCC kama kwa mfano, watu wanataka hii barabara iwe expanded. Wakati huu Wakenya wanataka barabara, si kujiangalia tu sisi kabila fulani, sisi community. Na nikumbushe viongozi wa Mlima ya kwamba mkikutana msiwe tu lawama kwa rais. You control the government, you control the country, you actually own half of this government. You have no reason to complain, you have no reason to bring unnecessary squabbles to the national government. Tafadhali tuheshimiane, heshimu rais, uitisha hao viongozi maendeleo. Nyinyi ndio mna run government, sisi wengine tulishajikubali, lakini muache blackmail rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, kwa sababu haifai namna hiyo.
Hata mimi siwezi taka tax kwa mkate. Kama mama ningeomba hata pombe iwekwe tax mingi ama namna gani? Kitu ingine, half of Kenya, Mheshimiwa Osoro, is not developed. Half of Kenya shamba iko idle. Wakipata mtu ameweka hata eka 20 halimi, tax sio shamba. Mtu akishindwa kulipia tax, ipande mboga, mahindi, watu wapate chakula. Lakini mkate kwa kina mama yenye tunapatia watoto asubuhi wanaenda shule, hapo jameni tutaki kusikia hata kidogo.
Even our president, a very hard working man, my best friend, he cannot allow to increase tax. So for a commodity, for a poor person, we will make sure that everything we do to promote our hustlers and our nation.
The case against former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga continued to be heard in the Nakuru court today. Police Inspector Samson Tanui testified, being the 5th of 14 witnesses expected to testify against the suspect. Maina Njenga and 11 others face 7 charges in total.
In your statement, you have not described it as the flower. Today you have said that it is a flower piece, it's a flower pillowcase. I want you to confirm that those words are not in your statement. Yes, they are not. Those ones you manufactured today. Because you are very creative, that's what I realized. So those ones just came out today. But they are not in your statement. They are not in your statement. No, you have answered my question. Wait until I ask you a question. Now, I want you to look at that pillow. Look at it critically. Do you see an opening of that pillow? Yes, do you see an opening? There is no opening. So there is nowhere where a gun can be hidden. No, there is no other photo. That is the only photo we are interrogating. I want you to unpack it for us so that we understand it. Yeah? No, I want you to focus on that one first. Don't create your own questions. I want you to answer my questions. In regards to photo number 12, you confirm that in that photo, when you look at it,
Now, onto international news. President Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian, and several others have been confirmed dead in a helicopter crash that occurred on Sunday in northwestern Iran. It is not yet clear what caused the helicopter to crash, but reports indicate that the weather was poor as President Raisi was inaugurating a dam in Azerbaijan following the sudden death of President Ibrahim Raisi. Preparations for swearing in Deputy President Mohammad Mokhber as acting president are underway. The election of a new president in Iran will be held in 50 days. Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro has criticized the national government for disrupting county plans by delaying funds. Mungaro complained that the national government has a habit of releasing funds at the end of the financial year, then blaming counties for not utilizing these funds. Speaking during the launch of his strategic plan at the Kilifi County Assembly, Speaker Teddy Mwambire condemned the National Assembly for undermining devolution by denying counties sufficient funds.
Become a trend of government to give us money 1 week before the year closes. So if we don't plan ourselves properly, mtasikia watu wakifanya turudisha pesa. Bila hatuwezi kurudisha pesa, hatuna. Hatuwezi tumia pesa, hatuwezi kama pesa haziko. Zikikuja siku mbili kabla tufunge bunge na mwaka tutafanya nini? So we need to all make noise about it because it's for the interest of us and Kilifi people, including ourselves.
Nimegundua kwamba mbali na kwamba kuna wenzetu ambao waliwahi kuwa madiwani sasa wako kule bungeni, ingawaje kuna wenzetu ambao walikuwa wakifanya kazi na magatuzi sasa wako kule bunge la kitaifa, bado hawaamini ugatuzi. Na ndio sababu ikifika kule lazima ati wanyanyue zile pesa waregeshe chini.
Sooner or later, that bill
the finance bill that is coming to the Senate with regards to this budget, I want to make it very clear the position of the people of Kilifi, that we do not agree at all in the increase of finances in that bill, and therefore ikifika ndani ya Senate, mimi nitapiga no to save watu.
And now welcome to the world of sports. Of course, you know Arsenal did not make it to the top of the league, but we're still on top, unlike some other teams. But I will not be touching on that. We shall have the scoreboard repeat after this bulletins. But for now, pastors and members of the Chani New Apostolic Church have been at the forefront of encouraging youth to maintain discipline and good morals in society through sports. Pastor Samson Musu said this during a friendly match with the Chani youth team at their home ground, Kipevu Primary School, Changamwe, Mombasa County. Musu said they adopted this approach after realizing that youth lacked unifying activities after church services. He said that the church will set a good example for the youth by engaging with the community. Musu added that introducing sports in church will help keep the youths away from drugs, which have been a major obstacle to their development. Chani youth team coach Jones Chalo praised the pastor's methods of keeping the youth away from vices in the community. The Chani New Apostolic Church team defeated Chani Youth Elders 1-0.
Majina ni Samson Abate Musu. Kanisa letu ni New Apostolic Church. Tumejukumua jukumu hili kwa sababu mahitaji wanarika wawe karibu na zaidi, hasa zaidi katika kusanyika, na tuwalete karibu zaidi na pia community na society, ili wanapojumuika kuwa karibu na society wataonyesha ile muonekano mwema, kwa sababu vijana wengi wetu wa kutoka kanisani wakicheza na wale wa kutoka nje wanaweza kuwavutia pia kuwa katika sehemu moja, kuwa katika kusanyika, na itawawezesha wao kuwa karibu zaidi na kufahamu nini hasa wanastahili kukua kuliko kuwa nje. Kuna mianadamu mingi, kuna mambo mengi ya nje inaweza kuwafanya wao wakue bila kupendeza kwa wazazi wao na hata katika community. So ni vizuri tumechukua jukumu hili kama kusanyiko, tuwe na friendly kama kusanyiko, na pia tukipata wengine kutoka nje tunacheza na wao. Pia wakituona kama sisi wanatoka kanisa, wataona pia hao watu pia wana nafasi njema ya kuwa karibu na sisi. Unajua sometimes watu wakiwa kanisani, wengine wako kanisani wanaona watu wako mbali na wao, lakini hili ni jambo moja la kuwaleta karibu, kuonyesha hata wale walio kanisani walio nje wanaweza kutangamana pamoja. Hiyo ndio jukumu kubwa letu, kufanya pia wawe karibu zaidi na tuungane pamoja ndani ya kusanyika. Hiyo ni jukumu kubwa zaidi.
Now, apart from Manchester United being number 8 at the end of the league, Coach Joseph Arada of the 48 Hours to See team praised his under-13 players after they won the Back-to-School Games Championship at Kipevu Primary School, Changamwe, Mombasa County. Speaking after the final, which they won 3-1 against Gaza Youth, Arada encouraged parents to allow their children to participate in sports as a way to keep them away from the drug abuse in the neighborhood. The winners received a trophy and medals, and Arada commends the coaches and organizers of the tournament. His sentiments were echoed by development activists and major sports stakeholders in the area. Abdallah Atuman, who said there are many examples of players from Africa and abroad who started playing in grassroots teams and are now earning substantial income.
Jumika hapa kwenye group stage tulifaulu na tukaingia quarter, tukafaulu, tukacheza finali. Kwa hivyo nashukuru watoto wangu wana ile kipawa cha mpira. Wazazi na jamii ambao sisi watoto wao kwa katika hizi michezo, ya kwamba michezo siku hizi inalipa, na michezo ni kipawa cha mtoto. Mtoto aweza kuwa hajui kusoma, lakini pana Mwenyezi Mungu alimpatia kipawa cha mchezo na ikamtoa. Kwa hivyo nawaambia wale wazazi ambao pengine hawataki watoto wao wajiumike katika hii mchezo, wakubali manake ndio kipawa ambao iko ulimwengu mzima, ambao kila mtoto na kipawa chake inatakana iangalie na wazazi wakisaidiana na makocha. Kwa hivyo mimi ningependa tu watoto waingie kwenye zoezi. Kwa sababu gani? Kuna hizi mambo ya madarati ambao tunajaribu kuzuia.
Mimi langu kubwa ni kuhimiza vijana wetu wajihamasishe na wajitolee kwa michezo, haswa kama sasa hivi tunaona mpira, football ni talanta muhimu sana kwa vijana wetu, na kuondosha katika uraibu na katika njia ambazo zisizofaa. Ni muhimu tulete vijana katika
And that is the end of today's EBN TV Prime Edition. My name is Consolata Chibalonza. Thank you very much for being with me from the start to this very end. I do wish you a good night. Coming up next, the scoreboard. The gang will be here to tell us more about what happened during the weekend, where the EPL closed down its curtains again. I do wish you a good night. I am still an Arsenal fan, and proudly we walk off the EPL stage.